mistaken, win here at home against a South Carolina team they have never beaten under Wes Hart. It'd be an entirely new level. The SEC is underway here in 2022. And the race to reach the beach in Pensacola is underway. The first of 10 league games for both South Carolina and Alabama. Ahead by Clem. Harris arrives. Sends Pickard back. Shelley Smith, 22nd season at the helm. A sterling record, not only in totality, but against Alabama. 14 NCAA appearances, and appears poised to do it again. A team that is one of 25 unbeaten teams in the nation. Bouncing ball that Patrick chases, drops in front. And with a deflection, Alabama clears their lines for a moment. Held up by Mattingly. It's going to take a moment. Mattingly, Parker, or Parker. There's Wes Hart, 8th season as the head coach at Alabama. And, you know, Jill, we spoke with him. There's so much talk about the idea of an overnight sensation. He indicated anyone who hasn't been watching or hadn't paid attention is surprised this year. He and this group are not. Skorka. Hung up in the air, and Patrick's going to chase it down.
That's a combination that we've seen quite often from Alabama. Ashlyn Sarepka floating out into that wide channel, looking for Jessica Skorka's late run to create a 2 versus 1. Skorka really good in that half space, looking for the blindside run of Parker on the weak side.
This is Barry. Render. Chipped in front dangerously. Seeking Zulo. Off at Barry, pushed away. Harris. Quick restart through Sarepka. Dixon wins the throw. And meanwhile, Jill, South Carolina is South Carolina. They play how they play. They're almost always ranked. I don't think anyone's really surprised to see them in the top 5. They actually dropped one spot after their draw against NC State last week.
They're very predictable. They're not flashy, but they're well organized. They get numbers behind the ball. They're really difficult to break down because they're compact vertically and horizontally. I think the big question mark this year is, will they create enough quality goal-scoring opportunities to put a couple away? Because you know that they're going to be very stingily defensively, so they only need a few chances. It's just going to be, can they be clinical in those moments?
Free kick won by Alabama. Won by Riley Tanner, the former Gamecock.
Riley Tanner is so fun to watch. He's a take-on artist in those wide areas. And this is going to be a matchup between Tanner and Cameron Dixon, who's one of their preferred outside backs.
I'll talk about how deceptive a runner she is and how good she is 1v1. Almost impossible to take the ball off of during her time at Carolina. This ball curling dangerously and over the top of the bar. No threat to Hins in the end.
But Alabama has been dangerous from set pieces all year long. And what's so dangerous is they look to play the ball on top of the goalkeeper, crowd the goalkeeper with a ton of congestion, force them into making a really decisive decision. The execution wasn't there, but Alabama has been dangerous in every single game from set pieces.
How difficult is that to attain for a team, especially one that has this many experienced players? In theory, some of that should carry over year to year, and there should be improvement, right?
Well, it's pretty simple what they try to do. They have really good aerial threats up top in Parker and in Henderson right now, and even some of their center backs, or I'm sorry, their outside backs like Reina Reyes can get into the attack. And they just look to clip the ball and make a lot of congestion in front of the goalkeeper.
And with their 13 seniors, they can think at maybe a higher level than some freshman-laden squads. They've played those big games before, and surely they know how important it is to nick a set-piece goal from time to time. Ooh, that'll get the job done. Orca crossfield and toward the setting sun. Good recovery in the wide area. A rise over Sorepka.
Sorepka, she's quietly had a great career at Alabama, but she's a pivotal position to this Alabama team. She's been used up front in the front three. Now she's playing on the side of the diamond, where that's a task, that's a job that is tasked with everything. Sometimes they create the width, sometimes they create overloads with the outside back, but they have to cover a lot of ground, and they've got to do a lot in playmaking as well as getting in their structure to press.
You can see Sorepka at the top of the list after 5 goals last year, had 8 over 3 seasons at Virginia, including a 7-goal sophomore campaign. This graphic almost leaves half the team out. They brought back all the starters, Jill.
And then they added a couple goal scorers back with Parker and a young freshman in Paul that I'm so excited to see what she adds to this front line of Alabama. I think she's a unique player that we haven't quite seen for this team in Wes Hart's tenure.
They brought back every goal and then added, Paul and Parker. This broke down for South Carolina. The run never came. Here's Reina Reyes, has already capped against the U.S. national team. Senior from Texas, who features from Mexico on the international level.
She's a heart and soul of this team and has found herself all over the pitch in years past for Alabama. At home, at left back position, it helps get numbers forward into the attack because she's so composed on the ball. She can deliver a ball, but she's got a lot of edge and a lot of bite.
Parker making that central run. Bring play back. Good to hear some genuine booing from the Alabama fans. Maybe not for him. They've assembled some really awesome crowds. And look, beating Clemson on your home ground, beating BYU on the road. They don't need to have a great SEC season to get into the dance at the end of the year. You probably feel as good about Alabama as any team in the country on their resume.
They're a real contender this year, and not only from a results base, but from a play base. I mean, their press that they instigate causes turnovers in the midfield, and they look to attack really quickly. They're fun to watch. They're an aggressive team that likes to get after on the front foot, add energy and fight. They're a team that's doing it both performance and results.
That's what the crowd looked like for the Clemson game at the start of the year. By the time this game was over, the crowd had swelled all the way up the bleachers. It was an awesome experience for the players, and talking to Wes Hart, it just handful of fraternities and sororities showed up about 20 minutes before the game. They were trying to re-recruit those fans. That's going to be a foul. Harris slid in on a 50-50. It belongs to Carolina.
And Harris in a 1v1 situation with Henderson. Henderson just slightly touching it out of her control. Going in for the slide tackle on Harris. But that's what we can expect to see from this Alabama team. They hunt, they press, they want to defend high up the field to try to keep possession, pin teams in, win the ball closer to goal.
Gims away from Reyes and rolled back by Claire Griffiths. Sarepka. Good step by Fala. Something that South Carolina discussed in our chat with the coaching staff this week. The need to be able to pop off that back line. That's a dangerous ball inside. Good save by Hins. Only one save against North Carolina State last time out. Pressed into service here about 12 minutes in.
Henderson and Parker are doing a good job of occupying those center backs. Parker pops off. That leaves room for Henderson to maneuver in between the lines. Has a bit of space and challenges Hins.
Henderson scores a winner in this game, she's going to be required to sticky note the office every single week.
That had to take a long time.
It couldn't have just been her, right? Like, clearly she did the photos, printed the photos from Outlook. We've discerned that now through an eagle eye.
I think the photos were the best part.
Rolled ahead. And cleared. Steer forward. Clam wide. Overcooked that. You know, Felicia Knox, now a junior, it's been fun watching her grow and develop over the last couple of years, because you could tell from really day one, the technical ability and the IQ were off the charts. This year, 6 assists on the season, just 3 the first 2.
She sits atop of that diamond, and I wouldn't even say that the 10 position is her best position. She's more of an 8, but it's her composure and her silkiness on the ball, her ability to manipulate the opponents and then exploit the space that they leave that has really caused a lot of problems for opponents.
Crone. Goalkeeper, and you must love that ball.
Oh, she's one of the best goalkeepers in the conference in possession. She can solve pressure in a multitude of different ways. She's smart, presents on clever little angles to give herself more time. And she certainly helps build the back out of the attack for Alabama.
3rd year at Bama after 2 seasons as a starter at Oklahoma. Has had a much better team in front of her. And the record reflects that since coming here to Tuscaloosa.
Only given up 5 goals this season, and I would say 3 of those goals were really team self-inflicted. 2 bombs from distance, 1 against BYU, but I think part of her success is the fact that Alabama has really become this high-pressing team, and so they defend a lot further from their own penalty area. Makes it a little easier for Crone.
Hold up to Skorka. Another attempt to get in behind here for Alabama. Can this Tide team just stretch South Carolina a little bit out of their comfort zone? So far, not yet.
Well, it's a tall challenge, Mike. I don't think many teams have done it. They've tried, but failed miserably.
Yep, 3 goals in 8 games conceded by South Carolina. That would be I suppose a miserable failure is one way to put it by opposition. Maybe a little bit of luck here to see it bounce to Zullo. And with the carom, Steer will watch that out. Going to be a Carolina throw. And up steps Micah Bryant. Still dealing with those freshman foibles. Has played well enough during the starting job, learning on the fly.
She's done a good job defensively. She stayed intact with Harris and Fala. She doesn't get forward as much. They like to steer their possession down Cameron Dixon's side a bit more comfortable on the ball. But Micah Bryant has been matched up against some of the best forwards in the country and done a great job so far.
Attempt to hold that up, gets sent out toward the Alabama logo painted here at the halfway line. Nearly through. South Carolina without a shot yet. They averaged 16 a contest. Zullo. Render. Streaking through, seeking the return, instead pushed away from Chang. Clem. Skorka. That hung in the air. Hins gives it a wave on the way out.
And that's classic South Carolina defending. Numbers behind the ball, discipline in their midfield. They've got players screening their back line. This is Skorka from that outside back for Alabama, looking for the backside run of Parker, just not able to execute that with enough bend to keep it in play. But Alabama in good goal-scoring position, just not able to move the ball quick enough to break down South Carolina's tight defensive structure.
A long way back for Barry, who glides by Henderson. Harris. On paper, this is the best matchup of the night across the country. Only two top 25 matchups, one in the ACC. You'll see on ACC Network here about 35 minutes time with Jen and Lori. This is Mike and Jill in Tuscaloosa between number 5 South Carolina and number 11 Alabama. Highest ranking in Tide's soccer history, which has been an up and down endeavor. Their first win in the NCAA tournament came last year, and now they're looking to win a third game against a top 25 opponent this season. Rolled over by Skorka, Clem. Driving through this watercolor painting of a venue tonight. Skorka. All the way down. No problem at all there.
Well, that's where South Carolina needs to be better. They need to find the feet of Kat Berry, allow her to hold up play as that target forward and get numbers joining underneath of her. Alabama commits so many numbers forward. It's easy for them to pin that opponent in. So that's going to put a lot more pressure on South Carolina in transition to connect passes.
Harris got the better of Henderson there. Stabbed through midfield and recovered by Carolina. Steer. That's a Skorka. Render, that touch left a little work to be done, and Henderson stymied by Harris. Berry. Good local flavor. Roll Tide roll, they cheer. Zarepka, good settling touch. Midway point of the half, Jill, anything surprise you?
It looks a little slow right now. Both teams just kind of still in the mindset of trying to figure each other out. Alabama a little bit slow when they get the ball into the attacking third, which is a problem because South Carolina just like to get so many numbers behind the ball, make it compact. There hasn't been much space to find in behind the backs of South Carolina. The midfield of Alabama is doing a good job of connecting passes. It just needs to be a little quicker to manipulate the backs of South Carolina.
We've seen a couple instances where they begin to do that, and then pass gets intercepted and you're defending once more. Chang nearly maintained it.
For South Carolina, I think that their midfield has done a good job defending so far, and they're trying to progress the ball higher up the field. But the three forwards of South Carolina have really been non-existent in being proactive with their movements in the final third, which has made it pretty predictable for the backs of Alabama.
Good work away from a four-player Gamecock pressure. Alabama flies ahead. Parker touched through now by Knox. This shot is saved by Heather Hinz. Henderson arriving up front again.
And it's the counter movement here from Alabama. Parker pops off the back line, and then it's interchange with Knox and Henderson, able to find a little space. Bala doing a good job of pushing Henderson into a wider shooting angle, making it predictable for Heather Hinz. good interchange, though. That's what's going to pull out the backs of South Carolina and make it a little less predictable.
Hey, let's tell you, every Saturday, Marty and McGee and SEC Nation bring you extensive SEC game previews, the latest news from around the conference that you won't find anywhere else. This week, guys will be on the plains in Auburn, Alabama, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 Central, followed by a 2-hour SEC Nation that takes you right up to kickoff. Both right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Henderson takes a rest, and here's Gianna Paul. You are excited about Gianna Paul. You get the feeling anyone who's watched Alabama this year is excited about Gianna Paul.
I think this is just a way to add variety to their attack. They've always been a possession-oriented team that try to manipulate their opponents, create gaps, and exploit it. And now this gives them some dynamic speed up front that it's going to allow them to exploit space in behind, which they've never had.
Trying to navigate at the edge of the penalty area. More contact. It's a foul against Alabama. Well, they're asking, how is that a foul? We're going to show you.
And Tanner with those silky 1v1 moves. I agree. I don't think that's a foul. Well, maybe this one was. As she loses the ball there, Cameron Dixon slides across, and the second one was a foul.
Okay. This is supposed to be a teaching tool, Jill.
Well, the first one, it wasn't a foul.
No, it was clean.
So I agreed.
It's just good officiating. You see Tanner there, played at South Carolina 3 years, 55 games, 7 goals, and really a vital part of that group for a while. Second year now here for the Tide. Jill, you played professionally. In the college game, you spent your entire career at Villanova, but playing against a former team or former teammates, what's that pressure like?
Surely it's got to be a little extra motivation for Riley Tanner. She wants to score on her previous team and bring her best, but it's always a fun, competitive game when you're playing against people that you've played with for so long or you grew up playing with or against. But once you get into the heat of the game, you kind of forget about all that.
Michigan native. Sniper-like shot. Brings a lot of tools to the table and has been a really valuable part of Alabama's turnaround the last couple of years. This is Shea O'Rourke. Wasn't quite able to take the plunge. Back out to Bryant. Has the overlap out there. Griffiths. Exciting, Jill, to see O'Rourke get into this game and just mix up that front line, because that's sort of been the story here for South Carolina, their ability to mix that front three around, whether it be specifically around Barry or someone else. The numbers for O'Rourke, we talked about excited people are about Gianna Paul, on par, if not better, to this point of the year.
O'Rourke, she's got an edge and a bite to her.
Oh, that effort is just wide.
It's a bit more direct here from Alabama. Paul checking back to the ball, creating space for Riley Tanner. She tees it up on her left foot, just not able to execute that and put it on frame. But I like the quick play and the direct style there from Alabama to get the ball into their attacking third as quickly as possible.
Whistle blows against Pickard.
And Mike, going back to your point about Shea O'Rourke, O'Rourke complements Kat Barry very well, because Kat Barry's good in the air. She can flick, she can play that final pass to O'Rourke, who's always willing to make the run in behind the back line. She's always willing to make that selfless run, and she's also got a fight and an edge. She uses her body really well, and having O'Rourke in the game gives the ability to South Carolina to play a front two and not really take away anything from their attacking threats. Paul finding the space in those wide channels. Gracie Falla and Cameron Dixon having to come back to double team Paul there when she receives the ball. He's quick with the ball and without the ball.
You know, we just saw Falla against an All-American caliber player with NC State. More or less held me quiet in that game. This is a different kind of task, though.
I think Gracie Falla had some growing pains early in the season. She gave away the ball that eventually led to Clemson's goal in that high pressing situation in the first few minutes of the game. But since that error, I think she's grown every single game, and I think she's maybe overshone a little bit by Harris, who's next to her, the headliner. But she's done a great job in her individual battles so far this season, good timing, and she gives them a threat on set pieces on the attacking side of the ball as well.
The rare dip into Mississippi's recruiting platform for South Carolina. Whistle goes here. First card of the game belongs to Sarepka.
Sarepka just stepping in late here on Griffiths, trying to get pressure on the ball late to that challenge. Earns a well-deserved yellow card there.
The YMCA.
Not what I expected.
You know, it's better than repurposing things you hear overseas. That's my opinion. Streisig enters, 9th appearance of the year, 6th off the bench. Sophomore from Vancouver. Wow, what a battle, Paul. Apparently that's a handball with that right arm.
Paul's been a real spark and a live wire, running it really well in these wide channels. Gets around the defender. And this is a familiar combination that we've seen earlier this season. Paul looking for Parker. Parker just not able to control that one.
Well, this is a sub we had a feeling was coming. Chang exits, and here's Hallie Meadows, a center back who's dealt with some significant injuries. You see the significant brace on that left leg, but isn't playing center back here tonight. Playing the 6, holding midfield. Really intriguing change there.
I think right now Alabama's really owning the midfield, which has precipitated the change in formation from South Carolina, as well as putting Meadows in that 6 role. She's going to look to disrupt the attack, especially in central areas against Alabama.
Well, she just tossed the brace. And it'll go merely with the compression sleeve here. I mean, Meadows was not quite a day 1 starter, but pretty darn close. 13 starts as a freshman. Hip injury, had a 9-stitch issue at the end of that freshman year after getting hit above the shoulders. But then it's been knee injuries that have been the issue for the Atlanta area native.
I like the change, putting her into that 6 role. You don't really want to disrupt the center back pairing too often, especially with a freshman of Gracie Falla's status.
O'Rourke hung that up there over Barry. And look, this is not a South Carolina team. I remember asking at the SEC tournament a few years ago, you ever think about a 3-back? to Shelley Smith, and she laughed.
Well, you know what you're going to get out of Harris and now Follow. You know it's a known commodity. They're steady, they're consistent, they're stable in the back line. They make it really difficult for teams to find space in front or behind them. So why change that when having someone like Meadows come in, even if it's for limited minutes as she returns to play, to be a disruptor, to make sure that Alabama can't dictate tempo through the midfield. It's a smart choice from Coach Shelley Smith.
Free kick, Alabama. Well, comes from Abby Hugo, who's continued to earn more and more minutes this year.
Just a late challenge there on Hugo and Paul. And then Knox just so crafty, trying to get through 2 defenders, 3 defenders.
What do you think from here?
Serve it. I wouldn't shoot. Heather Hins is a really good shot stopper.
Well, the shot was stopped, but after a bit of consternation, it's going the other way. Don't put anything past Felicia Knox. Did try to send that through the wall.
The thing is, from that distance, you have to hit it with enough power and bend, because it's got to go around the wall, and it's got to be something really special to beat just even the run-of-the-mill goalkeeper, let alone a great shot stopper like Heather Hins. I remember back in the day when I played, I'd be like, you won't shoot it from there.
Did you verbalize that, or did you think that?
No, I just thought about it, you know. I tried to bait players into shoot from there because it is a really difficult shot to bend around the wall.
Griffiths somehow able to hold on to that, and yeah, was asking for the foul, didn't really care for the advantage. That's going to be a card to Streisig.
Streisig just isolated 1v1 with Claire Griffiths. Griffiths beats her, and then Streisig trying to pull her down, trying to foul her. And this gives South Carolina a dangerous opportunity from a set piece in the wide area.
Chip to the back post. Didn't find Barry. Sits up for Bryant. Wow. And good applause here from the Alabama fans. I asked Wes Hart coming into this game, in the SEC, Alabama is the best what? He said, maybe not anymore, but at the beginning of the year, the best kept secret. The number 11 ranking is a different kind of target, but the fans here have taken to this. Left off by O'Rourke, didn't find Barry. There's room here for Streisig to explore and voyage. Well, ahead by Clem. Knox. Skorka. Skorka and line. Overcooked it. And we've got some football to tell you about. Week 3 of the SEC football lineup. On Saturday, game start at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. Number 9, Kentucky, hosting Youngstown State on the SEC Network. And Missouri hosting Abilene Christian on SEC Network Plus. continues through number 18 Florida, taking on USF at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. Every game is also available on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. One app, one tap, you know. And UL Monroe, number 2 Alabama, was in Austin last week for that wild game against the Longhorns. 105,250 fans, an all-time Texas record, to just get a glimpse of Alabama. Tide winning it with 10 seconds to go off the foot of Will Reichard. Allie Burke off the bench for the 6th time this season. Replaces Parker. Meadows making friends and influencing people. Hahn. Play on. There's a little bit of physicality in this match here, Jill.
It's starting to get really chippy right now. Both teams a little frustrated that they haven't been able to create enough.
Service with a glancing header toward the penalty spot gets launched away.
Interesting. You wonder if last weekend is still a hangover for South Carolina in terms of how difficult that game against NC State was. It was hot. They expended a lot of energy trying to create quality goal scoring opportunities. It looked really slow at times because of that heat. You wonder if that's still impacting them with the travel moving into this Thursday game.
Gonna send Paul running. Paul clipping. Here come the Tide. Streisig. Approaching the final minute of the first half. Coming up at halftime, we'll hear from Marion and Ian Carey about favorites in the SEC season in the East and Western divisions. But South Carolina creates something here before the break. A trio of flocking Gamecocks. Didn't find Montgomery. Paul. There will not be a first half buzzer beater. And this top 11 matchup goes to the intermission scoreless. Jill, South Carolina held without a shot through 45 minutes.
This game is still in the balance for both teams. Alabama having more possession, more territory, just haven't found that penetration through the compact lines of South Carolina. South Carolina progressing the ball.
Stadium always has an enormous crowd as well. Here in Tuscaloosa tonight, it is a rowdy crowd on this Thursday evening. And now we are under the lights where the stars come out. Number 5, South Carolina. Number 11, Alabama. Best rank in program history for the Crimson Tide in a 10-match home winning streak that dates 368 days. Whether they're able to extend that, we'll have to wait a few seconds longer. Riley Parker does the honors. Here we go in the second half. You know, Jill, we showed that preseason poll as the Gamecocks aims forward through Kat Berry. And maybe something on here for Carolina right out of the break. Aim to the back post. Berry brought it down, and good save, Crone. Made herself as big as she could. Denies Kat Berry. Corner, South Carolina.
Well, this is exactly what South Carolina is going to be looking for in this second half. Spees bringing the ball central, little clip ball into the back post run of Kat Berry, but it's brave, astute goalkeeping here from McKinley Crone to come out, make herself big, and the angle of the goal very, very small.
Good moment for Megan Spees in the attack as well, curling that across. 13 in Garnet. Maybe a second bite of the apple. Served across to the back post. Wide of Crone. That time it's Zullo popping out for Carolina.
The clever little ball into that back post area, into the run of Zullo. Kat Berry occupies the Alabama defender, leaving room for Zullo on that back stick. Alabama, I'm asking questions of the Alabama back line. Are they looking at the ball, or are they making sure that they're tracking those runners in the box?
Well, South Carolina had 0 shots in the first half. They've attempted 2 now in the second. This is going to roll calmly to Crone. You know, we came out of the halftime break with a look at the preseason poll, and you and I were chatting before the game. I don't know. We heard Ian Carey and Marion Crowder at halftime. They don't know either. We don't know how this conference is going to break out this year.
I think that's the fun part of it, is that every team has improved so much, and there is just so much uncertainty because out of the top 10 teams, anyone can win on any given day, and there's no real front runner who's dominating in performance and results. I mean, on each team, they've got quality goal scoring threats. They have good back lines and goalkeepers that can change the flow of the game. It's all up in the air.
And the best record in non-conference play, and I know their strength of schedule, and we've sort of seen this before, but Kentucky. So who knows?
Big surprise there.
You know, they always had some genuine attacking talent. It's just a coach who's a serial winner coming in from Wisconsin, Milwaukee. It's going to be interesting to see how all that recruiting that was done to turn that program around can help a new coach maybe cure the ills there where they just never quite got over the hump. From the end line, and this serve's blasted across Hins. What we do know is South Carolina is going to be there at the end. 45, 8 losses, 6 draws in the last 6 years in the SEC. Undefeated 3 different times. Mike Watts with Jill Lloyden in Tuscaloosa from our humble abodes. A couple more of these top 15 matchups on home ground, and they may have to put a little more infrastructure up in the bleachers, Jill.
I'm excited to see how this Alabama team continues to grow. They've proven over time they've gone from strength to strength and continue to be a big force, a threat in this SEC league.
Out of the first round in the NCAA tournament last year, beating Clemson. Turning around Reyes. Header snapped in front toward Knox. He's approaching that near stick. Barry held it up. Zulo leads the charge. Barry. This is a solo act. Now a bit of support. Crone.
Those transition moments for South Carolina are going to be so important. I agree with what Coach Shelley Smith shared with us at halftime coming out of the half is we need to be better in transition, know when to play in behind, know when to play in front. And they really haven't used Kat Barry that much. She has a significant height advantage over Sasha Pickard and Brooke Steer. She should look for that matchup, and then they can use her to link up play with the midfield.
Well, in all respect to Steer, you're talking 9th career game as a center back, too.
If I'm Kat Barry, first of all, she's like a unicorn in this league. She's an aerial threat. She's quick. She's mobile for her stature. She's so quick and able to dribble, beat players. They need to utilize her more. They haven't found her enough so far in this game.
There were times in that first half where it felt like we saw her dip into that midfield a little bit, but it would just be because she was so isolated up there, no?
She's just trying to link the lines, but I think this Alabama team commits so many numbers forward that she could be that outlet in transition 2v1. If she matches up against Steer or Pickard, she has an advantage to be able to keep the ball and bring it down with her composure.
Paul got a shot away and launches that over the bar. 2 goals, including the game winner against BYU, their top 10 win on the road in Utah earlier this season. Any surprises among the national contenders? I mean, BYU, they've played some run and gun games out there.
This is another year I feel similar about the SEC is there's no one dominant team. We haven't seen the best out of Florida State yet. We haven't seen the best out of North Carolina. UCLA certainly making a claim of why they should be the #1 team in the country with some really good results. Stanford dropping that game against Northwestern, so a lot of parity.
Ball launch crossfield, seeking Parker. Will collect it. Has Reyes back there. Clem kept it moving. This is better from Alabama. Knox. Zulo tried to close that down. In front, Tanner. Former Gamecock's going to track into the corner. This is really good from Alabama. Tanner tees that up. Knox! Oh, what a goal for Alabama! Tuscaloosa in a frenzy! And yes, Alabama is a football town.
What a sensational goal. Alabama does a good job to change the point of attack a few times. Riley Tanner, so good off the dribble, commits end line, pulls this one back from the late run of Felicia Knox, who just winds up and smashes it home from the top of the box. Puts Alabama up on the Gamecocks 1-0.
Hi, Felicia. 54th minute, 1-0. I mean, you can't hit this leader.
Yeah, it's the individual play from Riley Tanner to, 1, keep this ball alive, 2, commit end line with the vision to pull it back from Felicia Knox. And just look at the celebration from her and her teammates. A wonder goal. Such classy execution.
Ball across, Hins maintains this time. They built a non-conference schedule that indicated that they won't say it, arrived. They brought a good Clemson team here. They went and faced a good BYU team on the road. Wes Hart, 4 years ago, essentially took this program down to the studs, totally rebuilt it. And say what you want about the BYU win, Jill, and there's a lot to be said for doing that on the road at altitude. If you do this to start conference play against South Carolina, this Tide team is going to be absolutely flying, especially knowing they've got Tennessee on the road, Texas A&M at home, and away at Georgia facing them after that. Ball ahead toward Barry and the header to Crone.
Those are three certainly big-time contenders in the SEC every single season, but this game is far from over. This South Carolina team is going to look to get the ball forward into Gat Perry, start that platform from a higher position in the field, allow those midfielders to join the attack. And this is a familiar place that South Carolina has been this season. They went down 1-0 against Virginia Tech and Clemson. They found their way to fight back.
Paul searching out to Reyes. Quaffs around Spies. And you and I had a chance to talk to Shelley Smith after that Virginia Tech game. They were not satisfied with that first half. They were pleased with the response. They've found themselves in a hole a couple times this year, Jill, and they always seem to find their way out.
Yeah, it's slow starts, ponderous football. They need to move the ball a little bit quicker. They need to be more proactive in terms of providing options for the ball carrier. And they need to manipulate the opponent. I think that Alabama gets those numbers forward, that they can be more dangerous in counterattacking moments.
Set piece to come. Sub being prepared, Peyton Patrick. That'll come in a moment. South Carolina has the height advantage here, but it doesn't mean they've got the advantage. Alabama, a tremendous set piece scoring team. And a second, as exceedingly rare as it is against the Gamecocks, given they've only conceded 3 all year coming into the night, would be a real stunner. Service floats. Header is at Hins. Four changes for South Carolina. Griffiths returns, Render sits in midfield. You see Patrick coming on. Patrick, by the way, granddaughter of Dave, 1968 Olympian, 7-time NCAA national champion runner at Villanova. Villanova.
Wow.
This is a Lloyden lowdown nugget, not a South Carolina nugget.
You got me.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Oh, brilliant. Dips in behind. Marginally overcooked. Tanner. Watch out, Tanner, service. That's too far. And the foul from O'Rourke. O'Rourke's gonna get booked. First card on a South Carolina Gamecock tonight.
Alabama do such a good job of getting those outside backs higher involved into the attack. This is Skorka from the weak side trying to keep this one alive. Jay O'Rourke just late clipping Skorka. She's trying to get around the edge. Not a difficult decision for the referee.
54th minute goal from Alabama. Knocks her second from Tanner, second assist of the year. And what do the Tide have up their sleeve? Last set piece was a decent header, but a simple save for Heather Hinz. Delivery into the mixer, headers in! It had to be Parker. It's 2-0 Alabama.
And this is no surprise. Alabama has been so dangerous from set pieces all year long. They look to play it on top of the goalkeeper, cause a bunch of confusion, make it difficult for the goalkeeper to come out and protect this space. And it is Parker who rises up, and this towering header puts it past Hinz, who can't recover back to her line and make her save. And look at the fire, fierce joy that Parker has when she scores. It is so fun to watch.
The way she pulls at her jersey points to Alabama across the chest. Riley Parker has had this intriguing career at Alabama where she was one of the first to sort of buy into the Wes Hart vision of what this program could be. Has a solid freshman year, has a tremendous sophomore season, all conference. Tears her ACL in 2021 and comes back this year, and yeah, point at it, Alabama.
It's a great finish, but what's surprising is that she rises up untouched, and she scores that goal without a South Carolina player even putting any pressure on her. Very uncharacteristic for this Gamecock team.
Tanner, header wide. It's Parker again involved. Subs are coming. Let's walk you through Parker's journey a little bit here at Alabama. Was Riley Mattingly, tore her ACL in February of 2021 ahead of the spring season. During that time away from the game, married local real estate agent John Parker. That was January 2nd. Happy nuptials to the married couple. Returns to the starting lineup, and you better bet scored in her return to the lineup as well. And that was goal number 7 of the year. Chang, beyond Barry. Like, that's the face of Alabama soccer. Like, there is not, and same with South Carolina when Shelley Smith arrived. There is a little bit of history, but not a lot. Parker was sort of the turning point for this group among a series of players that came in together here, Jill.
And you could see how much they missed her last season. They played a beautiful, attractive, appealing brand, and ultimately fell to Ole Miss in the SEC tournament, but outplayed Ole Miss. They just were missing that constant goal-scoring threat. So having her back has been a game changer. And seeing the relationship bud between her and Paul, I think could be a really lethal combination for Alabama moving forward.
Program looking for just their 5th NCAA tournament appearance. And if this result holds, they are no longer the SEC's, quote, best kept secret. And you can bet they'll be in the top 10 next week if they can handle their business against Chattanooga on Sunday. They'll play that last non-conference game. Free kick, Alabama. They beat BYU on the road, and that was their first ranked win on the road since 2013. They beat A&M in 2018. Wes Hart's former team, he was the assistant coach under Mark Krikorian. Florida State came here the opening week of 2017. This could be just the 4th top 10 victory for the Tide, and all under Wes. Ball across. Reyes. Clem. dribbling toward the top of the box. Dixon put under some pressure. And the Tide continues to roll in the attacking third. Tanner. Punched away, cleared as far as Reyes. Clem. Back to Clem here. Headers away. Maintained by Reyes. And this sent out of play. Hey, let's get you caught up on some volleyball. Two of the top teams in the SEC will square off. Wednesday night volleyball matchup, Mississippi State hosting Georgia in Starkville. 8 Eastern, 7 Central. It's right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. That ball bounces out. You know, Jill, you came into the night, we said we weren't going to bury the lead. Alabama's for real. Explain why that is now with the knowledge that we have in this game combined with their 8 games in non-conference. Why could they go out and win the conference?
All right, I'm going to get my script out, my scroll. Here we go. Alabama is a high-pressing team that is difficult to break through that press. They starve teams of possession because they like to keep a majority of possession themselves. They can attack in a variety of ways that we just saw. They have multiple threats from set pieces, and they show up against the good opponents. They win the games that they're supposed to win. They've went down in this season already, and they've showed the resilience to fight back and grind out games. They have game changers in their final third, and they're going to create quality goal-scoring opportunities every single game.
Second corner, a lot of free kicks for Alabama, and Hins plucks that out of the air. And yet we talk about Alabama, and we talk about Parker and Knox and Paul, and all rightfully so, and right down the line. And yet we've got 2 center backs that are unfamiliar with one another, and you've got Clem being asked to essentially, with duct tape, put all this together here for the Tide.
So much attacking personalities. Even their outside backs are really good in the attack, getting forward, creating numerical advantages. But I think that Macy Clem is the real linchpin in this team. She's strong, she has a physical presence, great range of pass, and actually she was the player that was able to spray that ball initially out to Riley Tanner to create from the wide areas up the left side. She does a good job to protect the back too when those outside backs do get forward and help in the rest defense.
That's squeezed wide. Paul on the move. Well, Paul trying to get one by Hins. Take a look at this a moment ago, by the way. So here's Hins. Watch your face there. Comes up just a little bit lame on that last long ball she played forward.
And that's been an important asset to this South Carolina team, with the ability of a Kat Barry who's able to bring the ball out of the air. And they found success with this against Clemson. It was Heather Hins to Kat Barry, and eventually that ball ended up in the back of the goal for the equalizer. But that's one way to build and mitigate the press of Alabama.
By the way, a bit confused on my end. That wasn't really much of a long ball either from Hins. I was just playing it out of the back. So something to keep an eye on here for South Carolina. Good news is both these teams have a little bit of an embarrassment of riches. Ball ahead to Paul. Goalkeeping situation, really good shape. Transfer in from Kennesaw for Alabama. Got 45 minutes last time out. Taylor Fox was really battling with Hins for the starting job for a while, a couple of years ago. But Hins has very clearly emerged. Time is of the essence now for South Carolina. Ball rolled through. Creative start, that breaks down. And a free kick to South Carolina. You know, when you play with the number 4 ranking for 3 weeks, as the Gamecocks did, you drop to number 5. You play a knockdown dragout in 90-degree temperatures in Columbia last time out. You do have to wonder just how fatigued this Carolina team is playing on the road here in Tuscaloosa today, too. Not to take an inch off of what Alabama's accomplished.
They haven't been able to find that rhythm, that tempo in the attacking third. The midfield hasn't been on the ball enough to be able to create. And when they do get into the final third, their execution is just poor execution on the final pass.
A little bit of room to shoot there for Griffiths, and an easy stop for Crone. And is that just a tired legs thing in your mind? Is it something Alabama's done specifically beyond the pressure that you've discussed a bit throughout the game?
I mean, that match against North Carolina State had to be very fatiguing. I mean, if I played in that match, I would have felt like my legs were 2 tubes of Go-Gurt that had been sitting out in the sun for too long. And then you add the travel down to Alabama. It's been a long week for them.
It has.
But they do have a lot of attacking players up front that they've used interchangeably throughout the season. So the fact that they haven't been able to generate any attack through 2 front runners toward the end of that first half is quite surprising.
Clem pushes it wide. And again, service from the end line unimpeded. Sliced out. Skorka's been excellent. Good moments from Riley Tanner, including teeing up a goal. Knox and Parker, the goal scorers in the 54th and the 59th. Harris. Foul from Barry. Nine shots over the last 25 or so minutes from Alabama. They have turned it up in a major way. Whoa, that slide in there could ask some questions. Pickard. Yeah, that's not really about the contact. That's about the danger.
Sasha Pickard just trying to put some pressure on Kat Barry in a transitional moment. Slides, leaves her feet to get stuck in with Barry from behind. Maybe a little bit of silly foul. She had position, she had numbers behind the ball. But those are the chances that Alabama is willing to take with the high pressing style that they want to play.
That's a pretty flippant receive of a card, right? Who, me? Roll back by Meadows. Yeah, rightfully so. Montgomery won that ball. Subs are coming here. Alabama, a 2-0 lead in the final 20 minutes. This is the best game on paper on opening day of conference play for the Power Fives around the country. Nest returns, Henderson returns, Paul grabs the seat. Tanner sits as well. Now it's a job well done. Nest.
I like what I saw from Paul in the minutes that she played in that first half. In the second half, we didn't see a comprehensive performance from her, but we saw a little sparkle in a lot of different areas. Her ability in transition, her ability in the wide areas to take players on the dribble. She demands 2 and 3 defenders when she's centrally, but she still has the ability off the dribble to wiggle in and out to create a little space, and she was hitting some shots from distance with some pace.
And Nest, there's Hins. Close. And Carolina get one back and then start to dream. Barry, good save by Crone, follow up, and good defensive recovery. There's still work to be done. And Hahn can't get it any closer. Those are the moments for a goalkeeper.
Kat Barry is the type of player that you can keep at bay for 89 minutes, but you cannot take your eye off her inside the penalty area. McKinley Crone with a little bit of a miscue there with a deflection, but a big-time intervention from the Alabama defender to put this one out for a corner.
That was a Nest.
Yeah, she came right off the bench and made that important intervention.
Griffiths. Header back, there's nobody there. Griffiths. This falls inside the 6. Hahn's gonna chase, Crone's gonna collect. Intercepted. Bala. Have to thread that. Siphoned off by Alabama. Let's tell you that every Saturday, Marty and McGee and SEC Nation bring you extensive SEC game previews, latest news around the conference that you won't find anywhere else. This week, guys are in Auburn, Alabama, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 Central, followed by a 2-hour SEC Nation. They'll take you right up to kickoff. Both right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. What would a win mean to her? Knocks that forward. Henderson, hands out, Hins arrives.
Alabama's so dangerous on these set pieces. Knacks it into the back post, looking for the ball back across. Heather Hinz comes out to make herself big, and then it's Gracie Follow with the ball cleared off of the goal line to keep the hopes and dreams of South Carolina alive.
Wow. Certainly going in, and Gracie Follow, tremendous. Third corner. No, it's in the net. It's not going to count. There's a push. And still South Carolina can breathe here late. We all know that dismissive wave. Harris. Still sort of reaching at that right leg a little bit. Subs coming with 12 minutes remaining. Mattingly Parker returns. Oh, this tees up really nicely. Deflected by Harris and cleared out. Do you speak referee?
It's like it's a different language.
Ball in front, asking a few questions. And that's a corner. We know that language.
Sometimes I feel like I played this game for so long I should know all the rules, and yet the rules are consistently changing.
Including no overtime this year. Like, IFAB's a big enough problem to try and keep up with. Then get United Soccer coaches and the NCAA together. Woo. Clock getting reset. And apparently they're comfortable at 11:20. That hung up there for a while. Hinz goes crashing. Barry goes sprinting. You know, you talked about the joy of this Alabama team when they counter press, when they press as a unit. Like, this is air, this is oxygen for them.
You just saw the bench ignite with celebration for an important tackle there from Brooke Steer in a transition moment. And I said to Coach Hart the other day, some teams you have to persuade to press. This is a team that wants to press. They want to be on the front foot. They want to play aggressive. They find joy in getting the ball back from you, hunting it down in a collective press.
Wes Hart just got a yellow card. He can hang that up with all the sticky notes in his office. Can South Carolina stage a comeback? Or is this, for the Gamecocks, their first defeat? Only 25 teams in Division I yet to be tagged with a loss. Good work by Sarepka. Free kick. Yellow card to the newly subbed on Drew Drake.
And it was Ines getting into a really good pocket of space in the midfield to win the ball back off of Drew Drake, getting stuck in.
It's been one of those nights for South Carolina. They don't have these very frequently. Last year they were spurred on by one of these moments against LSU. How aggressive Parker from here. Usually one of the targets. A Nest, one who did the job.
And this is going to be a real question mark for me on this South Carolina team. Is they're a team that don't really like to take too many risks with the number of players that they get forward. They like to be compact between the lines, and when they go down a goal and have to force a goal, they have to take more risks. They have to get more players forward, linking lines, getting into dangerous areas, into goal-scoring positions in the field, and we just have not seen that response since Alabama got the go-ahead goal.
That was back in the 54th, and then Parker in the 59th. It'll be the first time a Wes Hart team has beaten South Carolina. On the run, Parker. Support down the flank. A Nest. Circling over top toward Paul. Paul goes in harshly on Hins. Paul's going to get a card for that. Again, you have a right to go for the ball, but that's danger for a goalkeeper. Studs exposed.
Ball served into the back post here. Paul trying to take that one down composed. Heather Hins comes out big, and it's a proper 50-50 ball, but that is a foul all day, every day on Gianna Paul, going studs up on the goalkeeper.
That's why we always keep a goalkeeper on staff. See that from another angle. That is a staggering number of cards. In the college game, you don't see 7 cards in a game very often.
It's not a surprise, though. South Carolina is fighting. They're trying to win first and second balls. They're trying to do anything to stop this Alabama team from having possession. And then that's what Alabama hangs their hat on, is their ability to instigate a press, getting stuck in, trying to deny those long ball services in behind their exposed back line at times when their outside backs get higher. So it's not really that shocking to see 7 cards at this stage in the game.
Well, one of them went to Wes Hart, which is a totally different deal altogether.
Well, you've got to add that to the element of passion. There has to be passion when you're asking a team to play this aggressive.
Hey, what a week 3 SEC football lineup we have for you Saturday. Games start noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. Number 9, Kentucky hosts Youngstown State on SEC Network, and then Missouri hosting Abilene Christian on SEC Network Plus. We've got the number 18 Florida Gators taking on USF at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. Every game also available on the ESPN app. You can watch it anywhere. Here on Thursday night primetime, the Alabama soccer team making a statement here. Still time for South Carolina. Barry. Came up short of Render. Big collision there with Steer. Bouncing all the way through. Good recovery. Nobody home on the backside. Render. Gonna go back to Crone. I'll get into the bench with 4 minutes remaining. This is Thursday night prime time. Sunday, LSU and Vanderbilt are on ESPNU. LSU, the darling last year. Vandy, unbeaten in non-conference play. And Jill, you'll have the call with Alex Perlman. I'm sure you're excited.
Oh, I'm excited. This is an LSU team that is growing in performance under leadership Sean Hudson, and Vanderbilt has been a more established SEC team under the tactical intelligence of Darren Ambrose. Should be a fun one.
And two teams that I think everyone agrees has the talent to make a little bit of noise here. Neither may be getting the respect they deserve in the preseason poll. This is off frame from Tanner, who can't get everything she wants out of tonight against her former team. Did you learn more about Alabama or South Carolina to this point?
I think Alabama's established that they're for real and that they can do it consistently against some of the top teams in the country. And I think tonight for South Carolina, it just exposed their inability to create quality goal-scoring opportunities in a multitude. They're relying a little bit too much, I think, on individual play of Kat Barry, individual play of Shea O'Rourke, and they haven't really found that cohesiveness in the final third quite yet this season.
Reyes, a senior, another one of those 13 seniors or grad students on the roster, many of whom arrived in the first couple of years of the West Hart project here that gets sent out of the stadium altogether. The frustration is real. Oh, this firecracker is lit. Reyes, Tanner, Harris. You know, Wes Hart took the team around a little bit through sort of the common areas on campus and just tried to get them to lasso some people to show up to the game ahead of Clemson. And again, you hear get the sororities and the fraternities excited. It's Greek night here. And, you know, I can't help but think a little bit, Jill, if you want to grow the game, I bet these fans want to come back again. I bet they want to watch this team again.
I think it just goes to show how much confidence this Alabama team has and how much they ooze that confidence of we know that we are good, that we are contenders, that we can play with the best teams in the country. And hey, come watch us play, because we know we're going to put on a show. We're going to be entertaining. We're going to be fun. You're going to have a good time.
Yep, Tanner. Corner. Just a little more juice in this group with a minute to go, the way this crowd is reacting. On a Thursday night in Tuscaloosa, the hottest ticket in town is to their 11th ranked Crimson Tide soccer team. The highest ranking in program history, about to attain maybe the most crystallizing win in program history. This win means what, Jill?
This win for Alabama is a statement of their intent and how hungry they are to compete at the highest level in our country. This was a very mature performance, a comprehensive second half performance. They controlled the game through their midfield. They controlled the tempo. They forced South Carolina to play in a really difficult and uncomfortable manner. I think tonight's win shows that Alabama is for real.
Alabama, a win over a top 5 team here in Tuscaloosa. They're going to continue to climb the national polls. A statement, validation. The Tide knock off South Carolina 2-0 on a Thursday night. For South Carolina, their first loss of the season. And make no mistake, they would love to see Alabama again. That would have to come in Pensacola in November. Georgia on the road, they'll host Arkansas and then Florida to close out the month. They'll do so on the bottom edge of the table. And number 5 goes down. A commanding performance by Alabama against the Gamecocks tonight. Knox and Mattingly Parker score the goals.